Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. Today we're going to be talking about raccoons, and we'd like to thank Lee Schneider for liking and sharing the podcast. One of the first people to write down about raccoons was Christopher Columbus around 1492, and he called them clown-like dogs. So he actually brought some back to Europe, and during his next voyage, he was collecting more raccoons, but by the end of the voyage, there weren't any left because his crew found that the meat tasted pretty good.
Nice.
So raccoons are native to North America. They're usually around 2 feet long, 10 to 20 pounds. They're considered highly intelligent, and their front paws are very dexterous. They can really manipulate things. They have very long fingers. And studies have shown that they can remember a solution to a problem for up to 3 years.
Wow.
In the wild, they're going to live 2 to 3 years.
That's it?
And in captivity, they can live up to 20 years. Amazing, huh? So they eat a wide variety of food: fruits, nuts, berries, insects, rodents, crayfish, frogs, snakes, worms.
Garbage.
Yeah, and, that's why they love your garbage, man, because they'll eat a wide variety. They can run up to 15 miles an hour,
Wow.
which is pretty interesting. And then a couple of these research studies I was reading, a couple of the scientists were saying, hey, we had an accident with a couple of raccoons, and they fell 40 feet without injury. So there was an accident where they accidentally studied how
He's
far...
doing air quotes, everybody.
So their front paws have specialized hair that sends messages to their cerebral cortex. Scientists think that they're actually feeling in color and shape because it's going to that part of the brain. Now scientists think that rather than cleaning their food, so a lot of people, always thought, wow, raccoons are clean because they take their food, they dip it in water, but they think that they're actually intensifying the sensitivity of these specialized nerves and hairs by getting them wet. Researchers also think that black fur they have around their eyes enhances their night vision. The problem with raccoons around your house is they can damage your lawn, digging up after earthworms and grubs. They can destroy your garden because they love fruits and vegetables. And then if you have a pond with fish in it, they're going to go after your fish.
That's a bummer.
With your garbage cans, they're going to knock them over, try to open them. They're going to chew through plastic garbage cans. If you have wood piles, they'll either set up a den if you have a large wood pile. And then what happens with a lot of wood piles is they found that they use them as a latrine. So they're defecating and urinating on this, and about 70% of adult raccoons and 90% of juveniles are infected with roundworms.
What's that?
These are microscopic worms that live in the raccoon's intestines, and they produce eggs that are released in their waste. And let's say you have a wood pile, they're using it as a latrine, and you're bringing this into the house. If you get this on your hands, if you accidentally ingest these eggs, they hatch a larva, and it can migrate into your brain and cause damage or death in some cases.
Terrible.
Amazing, huh? It's rare in humans, and most of the cases have been children playing in soil contaminated by raccoons or other animals that carry roundworm. Raccoons can also get distemper and can infect your dog, and they also carry rabies. So it's good to have a lot of preventative measures to keep raccoons from feeling comfortable around your house.
Yeah.
If you're having a problem with raccoons, the first thing you want to do is eliminate any easy source of food and water. So if you normally leave out bowls for your pets, so water bowls, food bowls, you want to bring that in every night.
Because raccoons are nocturnal.
Right, exactly. And then also bird seed. If you have, storage outside, or if you're putting too much in and it's dropping all over, raccoons will eat that. Your garbage cans, once they find a garbage can that they can easily get into, it's difficult to stop them from coming back because they're smart. They have a great memory, and they're very good at opening things. So once they've found your garbage cans, you're usually going to need a wide variety of deterrents to keep them from coming back. If you have plastic garbage cans that they've clawed and chewed through, you'd want to replace those with metal, like heavy metal cans with a tight-fitting lid, and check them out at the store because some of the lids are sloppy. You want them tight-fitting, and then buy bungee cords at the same time and test them while you're at the store. Take the bungee cord through one handle, put it over the top of the lid, connect it to the other handle, and it should be snug, and that's going to make it difficult for them to get into it.
But not impossible, because my dad used to do this with the garbage cans.
They chew right through the bungee cords?
Yeah.
That's great.
Another problem is that if your village or city requires you to have their garbage cans,
Okay, so,
so
like
it's
a
provided.
bin. Okay, right.
Because that's what my parents have, and it's just the flip lids that are connected, and
It's amazing how agile they are for kind of
Right.
a big animal. They crawl up, they flip those open.
yeah, so the raccoons love my parents' garbage.
Cinder block on top of it.
He's tried everything.
Really? Even cinder
I mean,
blocks?
we've tried the ultrasonic stuff,
Okay.
and that works for a while. I've tried the coyote urine.
Right.
That worked for a while, but
Yeah.
they're smart. They know that,
They don't see a coyote after a
Right.
while.
because
Yeah,
there's a
interesting.
big dog that lives next door to them, and they don't mess with their garbage cans,
Right, there you go.
but they mess with my parents.
If you're picking a bungee cord, there's also two types. You have a thick rubber,
Right.
which is very heavy duty and long lasting, and then there's also that kind of soft cloth, almost like a rubber band inside. They tend not to last as long, especially outside. So I'd go with the thick rubber.
Yeah,
And-
because I think that my dad had the cloth one,
Yeah,
and the
and
raccoons
they just start to break down. Did you know that in the small island off of Australia, Vanuatu, bungee jumping was a rite of passage in the 1700s? So young men would jump off a platform with these springy vines they called bungees tied to their ankles, and they would set it at a length where they actually allowed them to hit the ground without killing them.
So is this civilization still around? I'm guessing not.
For the 1892 Chicago World's Fair, an engineer wanted to use a huge rubber bungee cord to hold a car holding 200 people to be dropped off a 4,000-foot tall tower. And
I'm guessing that didn't get built.
No, they declined it. For your garbage cans, they should be cleaned and hosed off regularly to lessen the odor. You want to keep them on a solid surface so they can't be knocked over easy. And then baby powder on top of the lids is a popular deterrent because
Really?
raccoons don't like the feel of the powder. And then ammonia has actually been found to deter some raccoons. So if you wipe this on the lids and the side of the garbage can, but you have to be careful. Ammonia is very corrosive. It's an irritant to the skin. It can burn your eyes and throat. And if you mix ammonia and bleach, it creates a deadly gas. So it's you have to be careful with that. Mothballs are also suggested a lot, but again, very highly toxic, and it's hard to use this kind of stuff safely.
My mom recently has been taking gallons of bleach and pouring it over the garbage bags in the garbage can.
How's that been working?
It's not, but they're going through a lot of bleach, and I don't know where she got this idea that this is a good idea.
And now you got to worry about getting that on your clothes.
Right, well,
when
she
you're
doesn't
taking
take
the
out the garbage, so I think
Your dad has to
Yeah.
worry about his clothes. You can get motion detectors that turn on a floodlight that can scare off some raccoons, but they usually get used to it over time.
Right.
You'd want to combine that with other deterrents. And then you can also get ultrasonic sound machines, like you said your dad used. The best ones, like there's a one from Birdex that it's their Yard Guard. It actually has a motion detector and multiple settings.
Right.
So they said that the problem with any of these sound machines that are on all the time,
right, as
that
they get used to it.
yeah, so they prefer the ones that have motion activation. So it startles them, and then it goes off, and then it doesn't turn back on until they come back near it again.
And then there's a bunch of different settings, too. Once they get used to one, then...
Yeah, they say to vary the sounds. You can get motion-sensitive sprinklers, and these are considered very effective. So they connect to your garden hose, and then when motion's detective, they start spraying water. And so the hiss of the water flying through the air, they say that it does a very good job for long-term, for scaring away most raccoons and other pests in your yard. Some of the top-rated sprinklers were from Orbit, Scarecrow, Hoont, and it's Hoont, and Havahart. That's Havahart. And then you want to make sure that you're looking at the packaging. You want something that says small animals. Some of them are designed for larger animals like deer. So you want something that's low to the ground. A couple of reviews I read said that they got the best results keeping raccoons out of their garden if they repositioned it occasionally.
Ah,
You can also get raccoon repellents, and one of the top rated is Critter Ritter. So this is all natural. It's a pepper-based repellent. So they have it in spray and granules. You can put this inside, outside your garbage can, around your garbage can. So it's very irritating, that pepper, once they touch it, inhale it, or if they taste it. And then I saw they also have Critter Ritter with Nitro Plus for your lawn. So it's going to repel most mammals, and then it also fertilizes your lawn.
wow, 2 products in one.
You can also make your own homemade hot pepper deterrent.
That's exciting.
You can boil 1 cup of cayenne pepper. You can chop up 5 habanero chilies. You put this into a pot of water. They say add a few drops of liquid soap so it sticks to stuff better. You're going to let this cool. You're going to strain it, all the big particles, and then you're going to fill a spray bottle. And then you can spray this on in your garbage cans, all around the garbage cans. They recommend reapplying this once a week until they stop coming back to your house. And then whenever it rains, you need to reapply this after rain. And again, most mammals are really irritated by hot peppers. So, and this is something that, they don't get used to.
You should probably label the bottle, too, that this is what's in it.
And when you're making it, be careful not to touch your eyes.
Well, you should definitely wear rubber gloves, latex gloves.
Yeah. You can get trash bags with repellents in it. So Mint X, it's MINT and then a big X, has their rodent repellent trash bags, and there were a lot of good reviews online. They use the essential oils from mint to deter rats and raccoons, which is pretty wild. And so there was a study done by the University of Maryland, and they treated garbage bags with mint, and they set them out in the street. And then they had untreated bags next to it to see what rodents and raccoons would do. And the mint-scented bags were untouched.
Really?
And 67% of the unscented bags were chewed up and clawed up, and then food was removed.
Maybe my mom should try that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a lot better than bleach. Then if you don't want to deal with a variety of deterrents, you can just buy a shed and put your garbage cans in it. And that pretty much solves the problem. You get a nice one that has latches on it. Some of the top-rated storage sheds for garbage cans was Craftsman, Suncast, Rubbermaid, and Step 2. And then make sure that you're looking at the depth. I was looking at a couple of them, like that Step 2 storage shed is 27 inches deep.
Right.
So you need to know how big your garbage can, because you can have, either the round ones or square ones, ones with wheels. So you really need to know the diameter. For a 32-gallon garbage can, the average size I saw was about a 22-inch diameter, and for a 44-gallon garbage can, it was 24 inches deep. So again, know your size before you buy a shed. If you have raccoons in your garden, they can be very difficult to control because, again, they remember this, and, there's a large area that you've got to try to keep them out. So use pepper sprays. You can use the spray, the granules, and then I would say probably use those motion sensors hooked to a hose. If that doesn't work, then you're going to have to go with a fence, and that's basically your best barrier. And a solid fence, they say, is very effective. They really use their eyesight. And they say that, if they had fences where you could see through versus fences you can't see through, raccoons didn't try as often with a solid fence.
Interesting.
And then raccoons are going to try to dig and climb. So with your fence, you want to bury it 6 inches down, they found, and then all the way around. And the material shouldn't be easy to climb. The University of California suggested using a 10-gauge quarter-inch galvanized hardware cloth and then add a single electrified strand of wire 8 inches from the base of the fence, and that stopped most of the raccoons in their study. If you have a lot of raccoons, they then suggested a 2-wire electric fence. That bottom wire then is 6 inches off the ground with the second wire at 12 inches, and you activate this from dusk till dawn. But they also suggested looking at your local code. Not all areas you can have an electric fence. You'd want to identify this with warning signs. And then you can get these kits at the hardware store. They can order it for you. And so you've got this energizer. You've got these little plastic PVC posts, wire, and clamps. And you're really, very simply, you're going to create this barrier around your garden.
Nice. The
top-rated companies were Have a Heart and Zareba. So it's Zareba. And this Zareba, they have solar-powered energizers. So it's great if you don't, if an outlet's not handy, or if you don't want to recharge a deep cell marine battery, because there's a couple of different types you can get. So that solar power seems pretty cool. What they suggested for raccoons, you're looking for an electric fence system that's 1,000 to 2,000 volts. Because, like deers and bulls, they're 4,000 to 5,000 volts. If you have that problem along with the raccoons. If you're having a problem with raccoons in your bird feeders, you can take them down at night because they can really climb wood posts and trees.
Yeah.
If you mount it to a thin pole, they're suggesting 1/2 inch diameter or less. It's very hard for them to climb that. And then there's something called roller feeder, R-O-L-L-E-R feeder. And this is a spinning bird feeder, so squirrels and raccoons can't hold on to it. So it's pretty cool. It's like this cage that, if bird sets on these little perches, they don't move it at all. But the minute a raccoon gets on it, it just spins them and throws them off. It's pretty funny to look at. And then you can make your own raccoon guard to block access. So if you get links of galvanized pipe, so 6 inches or bigger in diameter, and you just wrap it around the post, so these snap, so galvanized pipe where it snaps into itself, so it comes unfolded, you wrap it around your post and snap it in, and then a lot of the sites were suggesting spray paint it so it looks fairly attractive. But they can't climb up it. It's too wide for them to get a good hold on, so it's kind of an easy way to stop that. The Humane Society recommended that you never use grease or these sticky gels because the problem with being around bird feeders, if birds get this on their feathers, they find it hard to fly, and then they can't preen some of these gels out of their feathers, so it makes them susceptible to predators and disease.
Right.
To keep raccoons out of your fireplace, you should get a chimney cap with a heavy screen on it. In fact, if you're moving into a new home, that's one of the first things you should look at is, do you have a cap on your chimney? And many of these are marked either raccoon-proof or raccoon screen, and you're going to want to get up there to make sure that you get the right size because you're going to have to match the shape and the size. You want something that's going to bolt in place so they can't grab it and pull it off because they're good at that.
Yeah.
Coyote urine is very popular as a repellent, but studies have found that they're less effective over time, but they are the most effective if you have a female raccoon that's looking for some place to give birth. They're extra sensitive to the smell of predators.
Really?
So if you have a raccoon that's in your chimney, it's usually a female trying to find some place to give birth, and if you hear that or see that, this is a great place to use coyote urine, and it's going to encourage her to flee. It's the same in your attic. The most common reason a raccoon is inside the house is they're pregnant looking for a den. And the attic, they can chew on your electrical wires, ductwork, wood.
Yeah, there's a ton of damage they could do.
And then they're urinating, defecating. Those droppings are very light. They can
Super gross.
Yeah, so we're worried about roundworms again if you're working in the attic. So you can use coyote urine in your attic, bright lights, loud music, and you want to make it as uncomfortable as possible because a mother raccoon wants seclusion. She doesn't want a lot of this stuff going on. You don't want to use ammonia or mothballs inside your house. And then if you're creating, using light and music and they just won't leave, you're going to have to trap them. So you can get a trap at a rental store. You're looking for something around 12 by 12 by 32. Make sure it's large enough for raccoons and ask, the store because they have heavy-duty traps for raccoons. If you have a trap that's two-sided, we found the best results if you close one side, leave one side open, put your bait at the other end where the door is shut, and then the highest rated bait for raccoons is cat food, sardines, and corn.
Wow.
Funny, huh? And it's good if you set this on plywood or thin metal so it's going to protect your attic from clawing, especially if you're setting this right on top of drywall because they'll really claw through once they get trapped. When you're checking on the trap, make sure you're wearing thick leather gloves and be careful because they're going to try to bite and claw at you. If there's a chance that there's pups, you need to be checking often because they nurse for about 10 weeks.
Oh, really?
You can also get a trap that's partitioned so you can keep the mom on one end and open up the other end and lure all the pups in. If they're too small, if you can hear them, so you want to check, the whole attic and make sure you're thorough because they're usually going to be grouped together. And if there are pups and you can hear them, if they're caught in the sides, let's say that's going down into the walls, you might end up having to call in a pro for that. And then you want to drive at least 3 miles away from your house to release raccoons. A couple of the pros were saying you should go at least 10 miles.
Wow.
And then one advice was use a very strong rope tied to the trap door and open it from a distance, or get in your car and put the rope through your window and then pull it open because they're usually pretty angry when you release them from the trap. You should probably check with your village, too, to see if there's any laws regarding trapping, because some states it's no problem if they're in your house, but in other states it's not legal to do it. You're supposed to call in a pro. And then if you do have raccoons in between the walls or in the ceiling, usually a pro is the best bet. They're going to use a Wi-Fi inspection tool to find them. Then they'll cut a hole, and they have these tools that are almost like a lasso that they snare them with and then pull them out.
Do you have anything else to add?
I'd say if you just moved into a house, I would check the attic before there's a problem. Make sure there's no openings, no easy access. So trim back trees, move posts. Or if you can't move a post, add galvanized pipe around it so raccoons can't climb up on it. And then every night make sure that if you have pet food or water outside, bring it in. Don't overdo the bird seed. Pepper spray and motion-activated sprinklers seem to work about the best. And it's going to handle most parts of your yard or protect it, your garbage cans, your garden. If you have really persistent raccoons in your garden, get an electric fence. And then if all else fails, get a dog.
Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, the Spotify mobile app, and the Google Play Music app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can check out our book on Amazon, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.